Breaking now on the night team, round 2 of powerful rainstorms. Major roads flooded and shut down. People rescued from their cars and businesses.
And there's new video on the night team of forceful water pouring into basements as local homes and businesses are flooded tonight. We have live Team 10 coverage.
Tracking the latest on that heavy rain and the flooding, and also just got the new update in on Hurricane Lee, its future, potential impacts we could see here in southern New England coming up.
Flooded and fed up. Residents of a Cranston apartment building that flooded over the weekend demand answers after their homes were condemned.
And wedding night chaos. A fight breaks out between Newport police and guests from a wedding. The wild scene now on the night team.
NBC 10 News starts with breaking news.
And breaking tonight, major flooding across the region after those powerful rainstorms tonight. Parts of Providence completely submerged underwater, including this parking lot on Branch Avenue. I'm Dan Janik.
And I'm Patrice Wood, and that's where Providence firefighters rescued 25 people who were trapped in their cars. The night team's Leanna Falk is live from the scene with the latest on their recovery. Leanna?
Dan, Patrice, right now I'm standing right on the outskirts of this shopping plaza on Branch Avenue, where you can see the flash flooding has turned this parking lot into what looks really like a lake. And Providence Fire says that about 4 feet of water has come up in this lot. And as you can see where it lands on my boots, I'm about 6 feet tall. So that gives you a better sense of how much water that we're actually seeing here. Now behind me, we have multiple cars, trucks, vans completely submerged in water in this lot. And we also have several stores, at least 7, completely getting overrun by water as well. And if my photographer zooms into one of those stores, you'll be able to see that some of that water has actually gotten inside. Now, we do have some video that our NBC 10 photographer shot earlier tonight. Deputy Assistant Chief Kevin Jutris says they received a call shortly before 7 p.m. from someone trapped inside a car inside this parking lot. Now, when first responders arrived, they found multiple people trapped in about a foot of water. Inflatable boats were used to rescue 25 people. Many of them were stuck inside their vehicles or inside some of the stores. Rescue teams ferried those boats back and forth until each person was brought to higher ground. Everyone is safe tonight. No one injured or required hospitalization. Chief Jutris says it will take some time, though, before this floodwater recedes.
Difficulty was with people not heeding the warning to not come through flooded areas. As we were blocking autos from coming through, we had others go around, park cars, and attempt to drive through the floods. I had a vehicle that's now stalled underneath the overpass for 146. He went by, stopped autos, and tried to drive through the flood on his own and did not make it through.
As a result of that flooding, Branch Avenue is now closed from Langdon to Vandewater. Officers with Providence Police and Rhode Island State Police have been called in to block each of the exits, and the public is encouraged to avoid this area completely until the roads are clear. Now, back live to Branch Avenue, I want to show you some video that I captured on my cell phone of a person leaving some of these stores with items in hand. Now, since we've been here, we have seen about half a dozen people go in and out of these stores, specifically City Trends. They walk in empty-handed and then they leave with their arms full of items. It's just one of the things that we're seeing here as a result of all these stores being flooded, and also some of the windows being broken as a result of the pressure from that water. Now, I can say in the time that we have been here, the water has started, the levels have started to decline a bit from where they first started about a few hours ago. When we came here originally, the water was about at the window level of a lot of these trucks behind me, and now we're starting to see the wheels. So it does show that we are seeing improvement here, but it's unclear how long it'll take before all of this water is gone. Live in Providence, Leanna Falk, NBC 10 News 19.
And Leanna, this was a scene at McCourt Middle School on Highland Avenue in Cumberland. I just heard from Superintendent Phil Thornton. He says the school has people on scene, and water did go about 3 feet into the front foyer area, but no other areas. He also says that they have a few small roof leaks. Water has now drained out of the parking lot, so things are looking up at McCourt Middle School in Cumberland. And major highways like Route 1 here in Attleboro flooded tonight. Some roads closed as cars were stuck in the water, prompting water rescues.
Yeah, and there were countless homes and basements flooded as the region was overwhelmed by those powerful storms. Our Team 10 coverage continues now with the night team's Molly Levine. She's live in Attleboro. Molly, what's it like there?
Dan and Patrice, what a switch up from just minutes ago. There was a car right here stuck in floodwaters with a tow truck just towing it out. You know, within minutes, that water has since receded. But take a look at this video that we shot as soon as we got here on Route 1 in Attleboro. Now, this is in front of the Friendlies. You know, some cars testing their luck, obviously. Others following the golden rule, turn around, don't drown, or in this case, you know, just went around some of these cars. Now, the road was partially blocked, but has since been reopened. Now, I did see a group of people pushing their car to the nearest gas station over here on Route 1, which was the Mobile, about 0.2 miles away from where this flooding was. Now, if there is any remaining flood waters around Attleboro, it's important to avoid driving through it. There is an emergency shelter open at the North Attleboro Middle School gymnasium for residents impacted by the flood. And like I said, the good news is that Route 1 here is now completely clear. It looks like all of the water has receded and cars are driving smoothly now. Live in Attleboro, Molly Levine, NBC 10 News 19.
The biggest flood we've ever had. Flooded in the cellar again.
And that is Dana Burdick on Brookside Avenue in North Providence. You can see water pouring into her basement. At last check, 3 feet of water and climbing. She says this is the 5th time there's been flooding on this street and no solution. I just talked to Mayor Charlie Lombardi, who says that he has never seen anything like this. He says the state drainage system cannot handle the volume of water. North Providence police say right now some sections of Mineral Spring Avenue are closed due to flooding.
Let's move to Johnston now, where crews rushed to a car submerged in water. This is on Atwood Avenue. As we zoom in, you can see half of that vehicle underwater. These are just a few of the scenes that are playing out in our area tonight.
Yeah, it is shocking, Mark.
Absolutely, it is shocking. On the heels of, 2 to 3 inches of rainfall yesterday, today produced about 3 to 6 inches of rainfall locally. The heaviest hit areas were Providence County and Bristol County in Massachusetts, the same locations you just showed that video out of. But look at the disparity between about 4 inches of rain at North Central Airport in Smithfield and only 0.04 of an inch of rain at TF Green Airport. Over an inch of rain in some of the most recent showers and storms for us in New Bedford. Newport, you've got some heavy rain, some thunderstorms over you right now. That's where the majority of your rain has come from this particular system. Now, this flash flood warning is going to transition over to a flood warning in this box, and that's going to run through 11 o'clock tomorrow morning from the National Weather Service. That is because the rivers, the creeks, the streams are still rising as the water is draining out of those areas that Molly and Lana were just showing you. They're draining into the catch basins and into the rivers and streams, so the rivers will continue to rise. There's a little bit of additional light rain, shouldn't have any additional impact on the flooding situation in Providence County, but I'm tracking those storms, Patrice and Dan, in Newport County and over toward New Bedford as well. So more ahead on this, the impact that we could see later this week with some more rain too, when I see in a few minutes.
And we're also following some more weather breaking news as major Hurricane Lee continues to strengthen.
Yeah, and this storm that we are keeping a close eye on because it could bring some impacts to our coastline. And Mark, I know you always get that new information at 11 o'clock. What's the latest?
Here's the 11 o'clock advisory from the National Hurricane Center. Still a Category 3 hurricane, 115 mile per hour sustained wind. There's a little bit of dry air that's worked into the northwestern side of the eye wall here in the last few hours or so. So that's having perhaps a little bit of an impact on preventing any further strengthening. Obviously still a powerful system. Here's the update though. As Lee tracks off to the west-northwest, likely to become a Category 2 storm as it approaches Bermuda, but it's going to likely pass to the west of Bermuda as a Category 1 hurricane Thursday night, 9 p.m. Now, as it relates to us, Friday night into Saturday would be the time frame when Lee, or what's left of it, which is now expected to weaken from a Category 1 hurricane to a post-tropical storm at 9 o'clock on Saturday night. Several hundred miles now, so this cone has shifted a little farther out to the east. We're likely going to see this cone shifting back and forth as we work through these next several days. So it is too early to say with any degree of certainty the type of wind or rain impacts, but we look at probabilities right now, Patrice and Dan, and it's more likely that the areas of southern New England that would potentially feel tropical storm force winds would be much farther out to the east, Chatham, the Outer Cape, and Nantucket. But again, a little bit too soon to get specific on this right now. I'm back with more on this and, of course, that rain threat for later this week in a few minutes. I'll see you then.
All right, Mark. And new on the night, team flooded and fed up in Cranston. Residents forced from Dean Estates after it was condemned from weekend flooding, and they're demanding answers tonight.
These poor people. Tonight they met with city leaders and apartment owners. The 19's Molly Levine was at that heated meeting.
This flash flood flooded our entire apartment from 0 to almost the height of the ceiling in 10 minutes.
A tough and traumatic 24 hours for Dean Estates residents, a dramatic flood Sunday and a fire Monday.
I almost lost my mother. Other people have almost lost their lives as well. We have a gentleman in a wheelchair that had his head sticking out of the water, almost dead.
Apartment management addressing the residents.
We didn't just start trying to solve this yesterday or today. We started a year ago. We took over and we had our first flood.
Justin Fishman, representing Wynn Companies, says they're giving residents affected a $500 credit, September's rent, and their security deposit back. He says they've got a block of rooms at a motel down the street for a discounted rate as well. At least 24 apartments deemed uninhabitable tonight.
Empathy isn't going to give me a bed to sleep in tonight.
Residents expected more from the management they pay rent to.
There's people who have just nothing. Everything I'm wearing now isn't even mine.
Why is this entire process reactionary when we could have been proactive?
The floods at the property on Oak Lawn Ave date back to at least 2013, the most recent flood just 2 months ago.
I personally would never, ever have rented out that basement. Never, to anybody.
The state is responsible for the road in front of Dean Estates. Mayor Ken Hopkins says the ground level of the apartment should have never been rented out.
Once it flooded the first time, our inspectors did go in and it was deemed that it was okay to move people back into, but I wouldn't allow it.
He says he can't comment further because of pending litigation, the Red Cross stepping in and helping with financial assistance and immediate needs tonight.
But I can guarantee you that the city will not allow anybody to be homeless tonight.
Residents will have an opportunity tomorrow to take out any important belongings that may have survived the flood and fire. Reporting from Cranston, Molly Levine, NBC 10 News Night Team.
Next on the night team, caught on camera, a chair goes flying into a windshield on the highway. The wild close call.
Unusual guest. A viewer catches a manatee in local waters. We'll show you the video.
And our breaking weather coverage continues. Severe flooding, closing roads, flooding out basements. Live coverage and Mark's forecast for our area and the path of Hurricane Lee. It's all next on the night team. Back to our breaking news on the night team. Flooding in North Attleboro left cars underwater. Residents pulled out their kayaks to help their neighbors whose vehicles were in the rising floodwaters. This was a scene on East Street. That's less than a mile from downtown.
And water in some areas got up to 9 inches deep. Hundreds of residents at the 21 East apartment complex forced to move their cars quickly in order to get them to safety. But some didn't make it in time, and their cars now remain in that same wet spot.
This is where we live. First of all, there's nowhere to park. Cars are underwater here. I mean, it's expensive and it's very frustrating. I mean, we have to figure out every time it rains what we're going to do.
It is so frustrating. We also learned that an emergency shelter now open at the North Attleboro Middle School Gymnasium for those who need it. We'll have more live storm team coverage just minutes away.
Hey, name it back. Oh my God. Yo, Coops.
A night out in Newport for a wedding goes awry, and now 6 people are facing charges. New body camera video shows this chaotic arrest. Police say it involved members of a wedding party, and it ended with an officer getting assaulted. Now, this all went down Sunday morning at Bowen's Wharf.
According to police, they obtained by NBC 10, it all started when security at the Landing restaurants denied entry to David Onick of Barrington. Things quickly escalated. Onick allegedly pushed an employee, causing restaurant security to step in, and that's when police say Onick tried to punch a guard. You can see people attacking police officers and officers swinging and pushing them back. Police say Robert Nash of Marshfield, Massachusetts, punched an officer in the face. Officers say as they tried to contain Nash, an officer felt someone trying to grab his gun.
You have no worries about the use of force that those officers displayed that night?
No. Assault on officers is not something that we tolerate here in Newport.
5 people are due in court on Wednesday. 1 other person will appear later this month. The demolition of Block Island's Harborside Inn is underway now. The fire quickly spread after starting in the kitchen last month. Nobody was hurt, but the building could not be saved. The process of tearing down the building is supposed to take about a week. The town says that this will be an active demolition site until the end of the month as cleanup continues.
A nurse at Rhode Island Hospital remains in critical condition at this hour after getting attacked by a patient last week. 53-year-old Scott Amaral hospitalized tonight According to the police report, 37-year-old George Bauer was upset over his phone privileges when an Amarillo came into his room to check on him. That's when the alleged attack happened. The details, though, are redacted from the report. Bauer is being held without bail and must get a competency evaluation.
New video on the night team slot machines reading out of service at MGM resorts. The company says a cybersecurity issue led to a shutdown of some of its systems. It knocked out services like website bookings and remote keys and apparently the slots. No word yet on exactly what happened or the extent of the impact.
Wild video to show you from a dash cam of a terrifying experience for Utah family. You caught it right there, right? They were headed for a trip when a part of a chair flew at their car. The video shows the metal piece hitting the passenger side. Here it comes. Yikes. Of the windshield and just shattering it. There were 5 people inside this car at the time. Incredibly, only minor injuries to report. We continue to follow that breaking news as another round of rain, another evening of flooding. This was the scene in Pawtucket tonight when heavy rain moved through the region. We want to take you back to Providence, where parts of that city are completely submerged underwater tonight.
Firefighters rescued 25 people trapped in their cars. The night team's Leanna Falk is back live for us. Is the water still receding, Leanna?
Significantly, Patrice. When we first arrived here, a lot of these cars that were behind me, I'll have the photographer zoom in, you could barely see the front wheels, but now we're starting to see both of the tires on these cars, and also we're being able to see a better picture of what's happening inside of these stores, which received significant damage. In the last 30 minutes, we have seen some business owners start to arrive here as well. I was able to get a quick chat with the owner of a Taekwondo studio owner. He says that this isn't surprising to him. He says that this flooding has happened about 3 or 4 times for his studio, but this is the worst that he's ever seen it. We also saw some people coming in and out of the liquor store all the way at the end right next to the Oak Street Health Clinic. Seems like they're just getting an assessment of some of the damage that's happened here. A lot of the people that we have talked to today, including the Providence Fire Deputy Assistant Chief, says that they haven't seen flooding like this in this area before, ever. So this really took a lot of people by surprise. So it'll be interesting to see how the recovery efforts go going forward. Patrice, Dan, live in Providence, I'm Leanna Falk, NBC 10 News 19.
Leanna, thank you. We're not going to Cumberland now. We're in new video from a viewer of the water rushing on Maury Street and flooding several homes. You can see the force of the water on this street from the downpours here tonight.
And now to new video out of Providence. This was sent to us by an NBC 10 viewer showing the situation inside a building there. The water turning this space into an indoor pool. A lot of homes have an indoor pool in their basements tonight, flooding everywhere.
You feel so bad for all these people, the cars, the apartments and the businesses. This just moved in so quickly, Mark.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it brings back, for some of us who remember 2010, the March flooding back in 2010. But that was expected because that was a cumulative effect of 20 inches of rain over the month of March. This, well, although we did have a flood watch in effect today for possibly 1 to 3 inches of rain, we doubled that amount, 3 to 6 inches of rainfall. So this came on in a hurry, and it caught people off guard. And you heard that fire chief off the top of the show talking about how people just didn't listen to the warnings to do not drive through the flooded areas. They went and they did it anyway. Now they've got destroyed cars as a result of that. And you can see some of the flooding here. This is from Bridget. She chimed in. Numerous pictures and video from Route 1 in Attleboro. And then this is some flooding that Lori chimed in the video in Charles Street in North Providence. Look at that river just running through people's yards in response to the North Providence area that we had reports of about 4.5 to 5 inches of rain today on the heels of 2 inches of rain yesterday. So the flash flood warning is over. Those levels are receding. You saw that from Leanna just then. But we still have a flood warning in effect because the creeks, the rivers, the streams, they are still rising. Everything that's draining now out of those flooded parking lots and those flooded streets, getting into the catch basins, they're going into the rivers and creeks and streams. So those will continue to rise overnight tonight. And this is going to be in effect until 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. So there's still going to be some areas of flooded out locations in Providence County and in Bristol County, Massachusetts, even though the heaviest rain is long over. We may see a spotty shower, otherwise a lot of fog tonight passing through. In fact, some of the heaviest rains over Newport County and southern Bristol County, Mass, where we didn't have a lot of rain earlier today. The hardest hit areas are just seeing some relatively light rain right now in Woonsocket, heading toward Cumberland, Barville getting some of that as well. So this mercifully tapering off a little bit tonight. There still may be a few pop-up showers tomorrow afternoon. This next system on Wednesday is going to provide another chance for some widespread rain. So again, worst of the rain behind us tonight. The water levels are receding out of our parking lots and streets, but they're going into the rivers and creeks. More rain on Wednesday. We're going to watch Lee. I've got the latest on that here in a second. Tomorrow, possibility of some scattered showers in the late morning and afternoon time frame. Another muggy day with temperatures in the mid-70s. This is all being fueled by this stale area of low pressure sitting to our south. It can't get kicked out of here until this cold front catches it on Wednesday. So that will happen on Wednesday. It's still humid as that front passes through. It's going to wring out all that moisture in the atmosphere, and there very well could be some locally heavy rain showers and storms through Wednesday night. 80% chance of rain on Wednesday. And then Thursday and Friday tapers off. Saturday is a 60% chance of rain right now, but that depends on how close what's left of Lee tracks to our coastline. Again, Category 3 hurricane right now, likely to weaken to a Category 1 hurricane as it misses a direct impact on Bermuda, but there's still going to be some surf conditions. Now, for us, at the very least, increasing surf beginning likely Thursday-ish, Wednesday or Thursday of this week, so surf and rip current concerns. The latest forecast here at 11, shifting it a little farther offshore. That's a great thing. And what's also great news is that it's likely to weaken from a Category 1 hurricane to a post-tropical storm as it's making its closest approach, which could be a couple of hundred miles east of the Outer Cape on Saturday. So lots still to iron out with this system, but right now we'll continue to monitor those trends. The surf looks to be the biggest impact here in southern New England. Northeast wind shifting southeast on the Bay for us tomorrow. Again, it's muggy. Cannot rule out a pop-up shower or a thunderstorm at times tomorrow. Friday presents a better chance for some rain here, Dan. And then Thursday, Friday, the humidity drops. Should be some typical, which we haven't had this September, typical September weather.
What's that word, typical?
Yeah.
Finally.
There's been nothing typical about this summer,
No.
that's for sure. All right, now to our rare site in Rhode Island. DEM says this manatee was recently spotted in Quiddy Pond in Charlestown. DEM says they have been seen in our waters before, but we're talking back in 2006, and most recently 2016 in Cape Cod. DEM, U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, and Mystic Aquarium are monitoring, but who could blame them for visiting our waters, right, Taylor?
I've never seen a manatee before. That was so cool.
There you go.
Well, the Patriots just fell short against the reigning NFC champion Eagles last night, but one player would impress in his first ever NFL game. Up next, we'll take a closer look at how New England's 2023 first-round draft pick won the trust of his coaches and teammates. Stay with us.
Now to the Chevrolet Sports Report with Taylor Rocha, sponsored by your local Chevy dealers.
With Tom Brady watching, the New England Patriots would start their season with a 25-20 loss to the Philadelphia Eagles. One bright spot, rookie cornerback Christian Gonzalez. The Patriots' 2023 first-round draft pick would have a tall task in his first game, containing one of the most explosive receiver duos in the league. He would rise to the occasion, posting 7 tackles, 1 sack, and a critical pass breakup on a 4th and 2 throw with less than 2 minutes to play. That would give New England another chance at a game-winning drive. Post-game, Gonzalez reflected on his Patriots debut.
They're great receivers. Everybody in the league is great receivers, and it's my job to come out and just try to do what I do, and play what the defense needs me to do, and then just have fun and learn.
No rest for the rookie. Another dangerous receiver duo is coming to Foxborough. Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle when the Patriots host the Miami Dolphins on Sunday Night Football. You can catch New England's Week 2 matchup right here on NBC 10. And some AFC East action tonight. The New York Jets playing host to the Buffalo Bills on Monday Night Football. The highly anticipated debut of Jets new quarterback Aaron Rodgers was cut short. The 39-year-old was ruled out with an ankle injury on his very first drive. The Jets would win it in overtime, 22-16 on a walk-off punt return for a touchdown by rookie Xavier Gipson. The Boston Red Sox and New York Yankees will have a delayed start to their 4-game series at Fenway Park. Tonight's game was postponed due to rain in the Fenway area. The Red Sox and Yankees will play 2 tomorrow. Game 1 is set for 1:35 p.m., while first pitch for the second game remains as scheduled at 7:10 p.m.
Amazing.
All right. Double header.
Yeah.
Busy day at Fenway.
Yeah.
We'll be right back with the busy day in the newsroom and the weather department.
Still some scattered showers and even a thunderstorm in spots, especially moving over Newport County and the New Bedford area in the next couple of hours. But fog for the rest of us. No more heavy rain for the areas that were hardest hit earlier tonight. Scattered showers are possible tomorrow. More widespread rain is likely Wednesday with that cold front sweeping this humidity out of here. So much drier air for Thursday, Friday. And then Saturday, that chance for rain and gusty wind, that really hinges upon what's left of Lee as it passes by. The trends tonight, at least the 11 o'clock advisory, suggests Lee may be sliding a little farther east. But when you're talking 5 days out, that's going to shift back east, shift back west. We're just going to watch the future runs and see what Lee is doing when he gets up here.
Right. Some of the images we saw from just tonight, though, are just breathtaking.
Insurance businesses are going to be so busy tomorrow. Look at all those cars.
Horrible.
That's 146, right off of 146 in Providence. All right, that's it for the night team. Thanks for watching. Tune in tomorrow for NBC 10 Sunrise for the latest on that flooding.
Yeah, we will have the very latest, of course, for you all day here on NBC 10 as we kind of take a closer look at the damage. We leave you with a live look at 146 in Providence. What a night, everybody.